Well, hello, everyone. We're so excited that you've joined us for this next CPSI session. Many of you are guessing will be joining us via recording. So hello to the future. Everyone wave to the future. It is my pleasure to welcome you to CPSI and our session tonight, which is the smallest change for the greatest good. And even just that title inspires me because there are days, to be honest, that I feel kind of small. And sometimes, especially, sometimes it's the good small when I look up at the big night sky and all those stars and galaxies and I think, wow, and I'm a part of it. But then there's just some days that I just feel the not good small. But to remember that the smallest change can still bring about the greatest good is kind of inspiring for me. And I can't wait to hear what Erin's going to share with us tonight. And so it's my pleasure to introduce Erin Tarr, who is our presenter facilitator extraordinaire this evening. And Erin, take it away.
Thank you so much, Kathy. You guys, I am so excited to be here with you. Those of you that I'm speaking to the future, hello from the past. I'm going to start sharing my screen with you because that's kind of how I think. I have kind of a little, but if I'm too small on your screen, feel free to like adjust me. How does that work with the recording as far as like, how big do I show up on their recording? I don't even know how that works. Do you guys know?
I can't remember.
We can decide how big you are on the recording, I think.
Oh.
Or maybe since you're recording it, it's whoever's recording it, however big you are.
However, Beth sees it is what it looks like on the recording.
So the group is equal-sized to the PowerPoint.
Awesome. I love it. Well, this is just as way of introduction for me. I'm talking about the smallest change for the greatest good. I work with young women primarily, but also boys on how to be fierce and flourish. And this is me. I'm a motivational speaker and a confidence coach for teen and tween girls. And we love to create and we love creativity. And I love talking and I love talking to you. So this is going to be interactive. I want you to speak up. So unmute yourself. When I have a question, feel free to unmute or throw it in the chat. I have the chat up. I will interact with that because I'm not one of those people that wants to just talk at you. I want to interact with you. So the first kind of quiz that I have for you is a what kind of motivational speaker am I quiz. So when I hear from motivational speakers, I usually put them in one of three buckets. The first bucket is they have like a super interesting life story, right? Like something fascinating has happened to them and, you know, everybody just wants to know more about how that happened. Like they, gosh, I'm trying now. All of a sudden, I'm drawing a blank. The words, you guys, COVID has taken a lot of my words, but you understand what I'm saying. But the second bucket is that overcomer, right? So someone who's had something really tragic happen, like they've lost something or they've overcome an injury or they fought back, you know, from something really difficult in life. That's the second bucket that I usually put them in. Or the third one is they have some really great athletic talent or there's some really unique like juggler or like fire breathing something or what have you. And so my question for you is, which one of these do you think I am? Any guesses? A, interesting life story. B, overcomer. Or C, I'm an athlete with a unique talent. No ideas. No one knows. Oh, someone said A, someone said B, C, across the board. You guys, all right. Well, here we go. I'm going to tell you a little bit. I grew up in Southern Illinois. I moved 2 hours north to the University of Illinois. And then I married my summer camp sweetheart. So I have like the most basic story ever. There's not really anything interesting about my life. I have not traveled widely or have interesting parents or anything like that. So not A. B, you guys, touch wood, but nothing truly tragic has ever happened to me. Like, I mean, I always, when I talk to people, I'm always like, probably most of you have had way worse things happen in your life than have happened in my life. I haven't had to overcome very much, you know. I'm happy to say, I guess. And I am so not an athlete. My one foray into athletics was I tried out like in the 7th grade. So I had done a little bit of t-ball, but it wasn't cute. Yes, Kathy's like, I don't play the sports balls. Yes. But I had decided that maybe in 7th grade, I was like, maybe I can run, right? So track, you don't have balls coming at you. You don't interact with it. Like, it's just you, right? So I'm like, I could try out for the track team. That's something I might be able to do, right? So let me just show you what I did. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this because I'm standing up, but this is how I tried out for the track team. I was like, I'm going to be the fastest person out there. Just you watch. I can do this. I can't do anything with balls, but I could do this. And so I'm like, I'm going to run. So I get really, excited. I just have to sprint like 3 times. They time it, whatever. Here's how I ran. Like, I'm not even kidding. I thought that by kicking my butt every single time that I ran, that I was somehow going to be the fastest. I was like, I'm putting out the most energy. I must be the fastest, right? Doesn't that make sense? Yes, Beth is like, of course, like you are doing the most, so you must be getting the furthest, right? Needless to say, that was basically the beginning and the end of my athletic career for the most part. So all of that to say, I am the type of motivational speaker that is a regular person, a regular girl, a regular woman. And part of the reason that I do that is because 100% of the mothers that I've met, the girls that I've met, the women that I work with, all deal with what I have dealt with, which is everyday anxiety and overwhelm. If you haven't dealt with this as a person at all, if you've never felt overwhelmed, if you've never woken up a little anxious, then you should probably just log off now because I don't have anything for you. But most people do deal with this, and I've dealt with this, and I just want to make an impact as an everyday person on other everyday people. The smallest changes for the greatest good, right? So, how many girls that you know are going to let lack of confidence, anxious thoughts, self-doubt, overwhelm, insecurity, self-consciousness keep them from pursuing their dreams? This is what happens when we don't figure out how to deal with it, right? And I'm telling you, if it's one that I know, if it's one girl that I know, that's too many for me, which is why I do what I do. That's why it's so important to me. And I love being surrounded here by creative problem solvers, because you guys know that there's so much that we can do about this, that this is not something that we can't overcome together, right? This statistic is fascinating to me. Global Dreams Index survey showed that over half of the world's women population have given up on their dreams. And because of that, they are unsatisfied with their lives. Over half. That was in Forbes in 2019. Does this hurt anyone else's heart to think about women out in the world that are not following their dreams and they're unsatisfied with their lives? Like, that is tragic to me. And I'm like, no more. Let's move on. Here are the reasons why. Here are the 3 reasons that they state. These women don't have enough support. They don't have enough money, and they don't have enough confidence. So that's the one that I like to key in on, is the confidence. So that's some of what we're going to talk about today, the little changes, small changes that we can make for the greatest good to help our confidence and to help others' confidence, right? So this is me. This is my 3 daughters. This is one of my 3 daughters. This is the one in green there. This is her now. So, she's old now. Sorry, I can't see. Like, it's weird, right? Okay, you go sit down for a minute. She's going to help me in a minute. She's listening. So that's Addison. She's 13 now. The one in yellow is 10. Her name is Finley. And the littlest one, her name is Logan, and she is 6 now. And for those of you that have had children, you know that this is a very anxious and overwhelmed time of life. Talk about the smallest change that happened. The smallest change was when the very first child, this 13-year-old here, went from being inside me to outside me. Happened in an instant. Changed everything. Everything. Nothing was the same. Those of you who haven't had children yet, God bless you. Go bless your mothers. There was a day right after I'd had Addison. This was back in the day. For those of you that don't understand, young children, they don't care what time it is when they want to eat or want to whatever, right? I don't know if you remember being a baby. I have some clients that remember being babies, but when they want to eat, they want to eat. And so she actually got on a schedule. She was waking up around 4 a.m. and I got on that schedule too, and it was great. But we didn't have on-demand TV back then, you guys. I had Netflix, but it was literally Netflix, like where you like mailed back the DVD, right? Does anybody remember this? Do you guys even know what DVDs are? Joelle remembers, yes, okay. So we're mailing back and forth DVDs, but the point is, I turned on the TV at 4 a.m. There is nothing to watch. Yes, going from 0 to 1, that small change of having no children to 1 children, I could probably have 7 after that, but that first one, man, is a doozy. So I'm sitting there and I got in the habit of watching this televangelist. I was folding laundry, whatever. And it just was what was on because I just didn't have a choice. It was cable television at 4 a.m., whatever. You don't have any control at that point. And one day she said something that literally changed my entire life. It has become the foundation of my business, the foundation of what I teach. It has made everything different. And what she said was, you don't have to think every thought that comes into your mind. I was like, wait, what did she say? So I had to repeat it to myself. I'm like, wait, I don't have to think every thought that comes into my mind. I'm like, this, when I started to unpack it, was life altering to me. Now, if y'all have heard this before, and this is old hat to you, I apologize. At the age of whatever age I was 13 years ago, which will remain undisclosed, this was groundbreaking for me. And it turned into the foundation of what I teach, which this is the smallest thing that I'm teaching you today. And I'm going to give you basically tools of how to do it. But it turned into this: choose your thoughts. That's it. If you hear nothing else that I say in the next however many minutes, this is the key. Choose your thoughts. I have the ability to choose as a thought comes in my head. Am I going to think on that? Am I going to dwell on that? Am I going to believe that? Am I going to live that? Or am I going to choose something else? And the power that comes with that is everything. It's everything. So that's what we're going to unpack together today. If you guys are ready for it. Are you ready for it? Are you here for it? Awesome. I love it. All right. Choose your thoughts. I am basically riffing on a Mandela quote that often gets attributed to different people. So I don't even know who really said it, but basically, our thoughts become our words. Tell me you've heard this. Our words become our actions become our habits become our values, and our values become our life story and our legacy. So that is where it all starts, with the choosing of the thoughts, all the way to your lifelong legacy, which, if you're a young person watching this, I know that might be hard to think about right now, what your legacy might be someday, but bear with me. We're gonna go through it a little bit, all right? So if you're taking notes, I hope they're colorful notes. I would love to see them at the end because I use like 75 colors of Sharpies. That's my personal favorite. But, all right. The most important conversation you have each day is the one that you have with yourself. So this is the foundation of what we're talking about when we choose our thoughts, is that most people, not all people, but most people are having a daily conversation with themselves as you're at the grocery store, as you're driving, when you're on a walk, whatever you're doing, when you're doing the dishes, talking to other people even, there's usually like this little dialogue in the background. And that is the conversation you're having with yourself. And that is the most important one that you have every day. So all of this is kind of what I have fleshed out into what I call my fiercest framework. We're not going to go over the whole framework today. We don't have time for all of that, but we're going to start with the F. So the first thing I'm going to do is freak you out a little bit. How many of you guys have seen this before? Yeah. Does it still give you a little bit of the heebie-jeebies when you look at it? Like, oh, I'm uncomfortable. Like, what is going on here? And oh my gosh, is Russia really that big? I mean, I do this, I put this up mostly so that we can start to think about shifting our paradigm, shifting the way we look at things, because how you view it is how you do it. I love pithy little statements like this. And if we are always looking at things the exact same way that we always have, we're always going to do things the exact same way. And y'all know creatively, that's not how it works, right? We have to shift how we look at things. We have to get uncomfortable. And that's what we're going to do a little bit today, but in a fun, not uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know. It depends on how set you are in your ways. I don't think anybody at this conference is too set in their ways. That would be my guess. All right. So the F in the fiercest framework. Let me tell you about what it does for you if my PowerPoint will work. Here we go. This is something that makes us happier, gives us higher self-esteem, reduces jealousy. And this is all based on science. I'm not a scientist. I don't do science, but I read what other people do in science, and then I believe it, and then I tell other people. Enhanced optimism. Let's see. Improved decision-making, improved sleep, stronger friendships, it makes you more generous. You have more social support when you do this. You have improved, does anyone want improved romantic relationships? Yes, maybe. Better physical health, and you're more likable. Who wants this for basically free, right? This is something, all of these things you can have for free when you practice gratitude. That is what the F in the fiercest framework is. Feel gratitude. Now, I'm sure all of you are very grateful people. I'm sure that at Thanksgiving, you go around the table with your family and say all the nice things, and probably you write thank you cards when people give you gifts, or at least send a thank you text. Do we do cards anymore? I don't know if we do. But what I'm talking about is a little bit deeper than that. It's about daily practice. So practicing gratitude each day keeps discontent away. So if you're taking notes, that's a great one to put down. All of my fiercest frameworks have like a blah, blah, blah each day keeps blah, blah, blah. I'm very cute like that. I like to be cute like that. But practicing gratitude each day, daily, keeps discontent away. Yeah. So Beth said so many studies about keeping gratitude journals and health improvements. Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. And yet, how many of us do it? Oh, Beth's going to show us hers. She has hers down on her bottom shelf. All right. Well, this is the fun part. This is the gratitude Olympics. So if you are drawing and you want to draw your little Olympics pedestal, we're going to have a gold, silver, and bronze. Oh, there's Beth's journal. I love it. We're going to have gold, silver, and bronze ways to practice gratitude on a daily basis and make it fun for you. So the first thing, this is the bronze. It's called yellow car gratitude. And this is really fun for kids, but really it's fun for all of us. Basically, it's super easy. Every time you see a yellow car, you say what you're grateful for. It's a reset moment. It's a moment to, if you're in the car and you are mad at someone that is driving next to you, or you are thinking about, the argument that you had with someone, or you or whatever, and all of a sudden you see a yellow car, you also know that studies show you can't hold a grateful thought and an anxious thought at the exact same time. You're choosing one or the other. So when you see a yellow car, that is the world's way of saying like, hey, choose this for a second. Choose gratitude just for a moment. The other day, y'all, I saw 3 yellow cars at the exact same time. I'm like, okay, God, what's going on? I wasn't in that bad of a mood, was I? But that is the bronze way to practice daily gratitude, is the yellow car gratitude. The second one, and this one also can be done in the car, but really anywhere, is the check your clock. Anytime that clock, you might have used to hear when you were a kid, when I heard when I was a kid, 11:11, make a wish. Well, no, it's 11:11. Tell me what you're grateful for. 4:44, what are you grateful for? 5:55, 2:22, whatever it is. Anytime you see those repeating numbers on the clock. And for an extra challenge, if it's 3:33, you each have to say 3 things you're grateful for, right? So any way that you can to really embrace this practice. This is great. This is fun because 3:30 at 3:33 was often when we were about, my girls and I would pick them up from school about 3:15. We'd be about halfway home from school. And for any of you that have traveled with siblings, you know the car is the perfect opportunity to drive your mom insane. To argue, to fight about who got what snack or who didn't get a snack or what happened and blah, 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 blah. So at 3:33, we all get to take a collective breath and let all of that go for a minute. We get to say, here's things that we're grateful for in spite of, or in addition to the fact that all of this is crazy, we are still grateful for these things. So another awesome, fun reset moment. So if you practice that one, you get the silver medal. And the one that Beth alluded to earlier, the gold medal, is our gratitude journal. You guys, it's the gold standard. It is the gold standard for gratitude practice daily. If you're not a journaler, video journal. Get on your video app on your phone and talk to yourself. Audio. Clubhouse is blowing up right now, you guys, because people don't sometimes like to see themselves. Audio record yourself. This is not for posterity, for someone to see later. This is for you to be in that moment and feel something. And if you do that better when you're talking than when you're writing, or if you're just able to be more disciplined about it in a different way, do it that way. There are no rules that it has to be, at 5 a.m. and 2 whole pages or what. No, you get to do what works for you. So keep trying. Be creative about how you make this small change. Okay. So that is what I want to encourage you to do today to get your gold medal in gratitude. So let's do it, because we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, not just one time, but it's our habit over time. And the studies show anywhere from 25 to 33% happier if you have maintained a gratitude practice for 30 days or more. So there's lots of different studies on that. So yeah, yes, posting on social media so that you can see it in the past, and you can do that public for everyone to see. You can do it for a certain portion of people to see. You can do it just for yourself to see. I have a friend that has an Instagram account that is just her gratitude Instagram account. So she has a regular one where she posts about like whatever. And then she has her gratitude account that she posts a picture and a thought every single day about gratitude. So yeah, get creative. Do it in a way that works for you, that makes it fun. So we're going to do it right now. We are going to not just write down 3 things that we're grateful for or Instagram about them or whatever. Sorry, I get really high energy and then I remember like, oh yes, we need to breathe. But take that moment as you write down each thing to pause and really feel the gratitude for whatever it is that you're writing. So I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 minutes. If you're watching in the future, feel free to fast forward this part or do it with us or pause it and do it however long it takes you. So I'm going to give you a minute. And then I guess just put in the chat maybe like when you're done so we can move on together as a group. But yeah, I'll be quiet. All right. Are we about ready to move on? All right. Could you not help but smile when you think of it? When you truly like take that moment, you know, like sometimes I think like we go around, we're like grateful for my friends and my family and my house. And it's like, yes, we know. But like when you really think about what that looks like, it can be pretty cool. So that is the F in the fiercest framework. And the second, we're going to go on to the I, has to do with our words, which is another small change, but your words really do shape your world. I have a few examples here. This is my powerlifting friend, Rafat. She's amazing. This is just a rack of weights, which are what I lift, not like what she lifts. She's an Olympic weightlifter. And this is a plant from IKEA. And what do they all have in common? Well, I and my amazing assistant are going to show you. So step back a little, sorry. Okay, so you guys may or may not have seen this before, but basically this is a physical representation of the power of words. And so I've done this time and time again. I actually, last time I did this, I was talking to a track team, an all-female track team, and I'm like, oh, this should not be a big deal. Of course, I chose the shot putter, who was like the heavy lifter exactly on the team. So basically what we're gonna do is we are going to tell Adson, she's going to show us how the power of words impacts her ability to resist my pushing her arms down. So the way that you do this is they put their arms out in a T. You gently place your hands between their elbows and their wrists. And then we're just going to try, we're going to do a trial. So I'm just going to show you how hard it is to push your arms down. So try to resist me pushing your arms down. Okay. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So a little bit of resistance, not a lot, but try one more time. Let's just make sure. You ready? Okay. Okay. Yeah. She's not super strong, friends, but that's okay. But what we're going to do now is we're actually going to tell her, what did I do first? Did I do how strong you are first? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I'm going to tell her, I'm trying to remember if I did, which way I do it. I haven't done it in a while. So we're going to actually tell her, no, I'm going to tell her how weak she is. I'm going to tell her that she has no muscles. And usually I have you guys help, but I mean, that would be really tricky. And oh my gosh, you guys, when I do this in front of groups, all the other girls are like, oh, you're so mean. I'm like, I'm illustrating a point. Chill out, people. But you're so weak and you have no muscles and you're just like spaghetti arms and you can't lift a thing. Like, do you even lift? She's used to this too. So, I mean, I don't know that you're really going to be able to do this. All right. So you can try to resist me, but you have basically no muscle tone. So let's see. Can you try to resist me though, even though you're very weak? Okay, here we go. Are you even trying? Seriously.
No, you made me laugh.
Okay, try again. It's very easy. It's much easier. I don't know if you can tell the nuance. Okay, but now, you guys, I'm going to tell her how strong she is. I'm going to tell her that you are capable of anything you put your mind to. I'm going to tell you that you have very strong muscles, that you're going to be able to resist me, that you have strength, you have beauty, you have confidence, you are clearly very muscly, very muscly. And now you're going to resist me. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so I still got her down, obviously, but did you see the nuance? Can you tell? Thank you, Adson, my lovely assistant. I appreciate it. So here's the thing. I mean, my husband's always like, that's such a parlor trick. And I'm like, okay, yes, it is, except that it works every single time, unless the person is literally like my friend Rafat and a bodybuilder. But it did work on the shot putter, guys. I was pretty proud of the fact that it did work on him. But that being said, I didn't need to tell you about the power of words and show you that, because when somebody says, oh, I like your haircut, or wow, you did really great at that presentation, or I really appreciate the meal that you made for me. You stand up a little taller. You walk a little prouder. You smile a little more. You feel different. Do you not? This little one over here with the Pinterest save, this is a video you guys can watch later. If you Google IKEA plants, has anybody seen this? IKEA did this entire thing. And there's, I mean, they're all over the internet about the power of this. But IKEA literally did this in a school where one of the plants was bullied, the exact same plant, exact same light, exact same whatever. And one of the plant was affirmed for 30 days. Physically, one plant flourished and one plant died. It's crazy. I've never done it myself because I make all plants die. But the point is, the point is there is power in our words. And you guys know that. I don't even need to prove that to you, but that's, you know, just a fun way to look at it. And try that with yourself at home. Like try it with somebody that's approximately your size and see what happens. But an affirmation a day makes your confidence stay. This is the other small tweak. An affirmation a day makes your confidence stay. So how do we go about affirmations? I call them I am statements because that fits well, and because otherwise it would be fiercest and that would be dumb. So fiercest I am statements or affirmations. It is the repetition of affirmation that leads to our belief. Once that belief becomes a deep conviction, things will begin to happen. It's small, it's minor, it's tiny, but it's true. So here's how it works. First thing in the morning, we wake up and we say our daily affirmation, whatever that affirmation is for us. If it was Adson in this situation, she would say, I am strong. I am strong. That would be her I am statement. And when she says that with feeling, that primes her brain. There's like all these like technical psychological brain terms that I don't use because I'm not a technical psychological brain person. But it primes your brain. It primes your subconscious to lead to strong action. And then when you start to do those small, strong actions, your brain then sees, oh, it's affirming. I am strong because I did that thing. I was primed. I started to do it. I did it. I'm affirming. And then that belief grows stronger. Like, I guess I am a strong person, which leads to more strong action. And then that affirmation starts to become reality. So Joelle's has a great question. Does anyone else know what it's like to be hit with anxiety first thing in the morning? Yes, this is a great buffer for that, Joelle. And I will tell you that's part of what we're going to talk about here for sure, because it is, you wake up first thing in the morning and you notice, and this is one thing, this is totally not with the presentation today, but this is something that I've just started using, Joelle, that is so helpful. Me saying, separating myself from the anxiety and saying, I notice feelings of anxiety instead of I am anxious, because that is an affirmation, right? I am noticing feelings of anxiety. So noticing something that is separate from me has been really helpful. So when we say our affirmations, I will say this, they are not magical. Sometimes they feel that way. Exactly. Ooh, I just said I'm won $1 million. You know, where is it? But you guys, sometimes they do feel that way. There is something, this is like the most technical term I'll use, which is the reticular activation system, which, for example, now that I've talked to you about yellow cars, you're going to start seeing yellow cars all over the place because we talked about it. That's what the reticular activation system does. When you start to look for something, you will notice it more. So it seems kind of magical. Affirmations are not negative. Does that make sense? We need to frame what we want in life. We need to tell our brains, tell our lives, tell our self-conscious, this is what we want, not what we don't want, right? So we wouldn't say, I am not anxious, because we would craft it in another way to the positive. And last but not least, they are not one and done. This is where the repetition comes in. This is where the everyday, this is where the daily. So my whole fiercest framework is about implementing these smallest change habits early and on a daily basis to explode, into the greatest good for your own life and your own success. So when you say your affirmation, you are setting an intention. This is what I want. This is who I am going to be. We are claiming a truth, because if you want it, you can claim that for yourself. That can be hard. That can be tricky, right? So I want to be Wonder Woman. I am claiming Wonder Woman as my truth. I have to have a tiny grain of truth in me to truly claim that. But when you want it, when you start to work towards that, you get to claim that as your truth. I can say I am peaceful, even though probably 80% of the time I am not peaceful at all. I'm a big jumble of blah. But there are times when I'm peaceful. So I can claim that truth when I need to claim that truth, that I am peaceful. So we get to claim that. And it's a lens. It's a lens that we get to use to look at our day. How do we want our day to look? Do I want to have a peaceful day or do I want to have an energized day? Neither is wrong. But if I wake up and I talk about I'm going to be peaceful, I'm peaceful versus I'm energized, our day might look different because we're looking at it through a different lens. Neither is wrong, but we get to choose. That's the exciting part. That's the exciting part. Okay, so we are going to clear our minds for a second. We're going to do a little bit and come up with a few affirmations for ourselves. So I probably won't take 5 minutes because that seems like a long amount of time at this point in the evening. But I am going to ask you to breathe. Just notice your breath for a moment. You don't need to change your breathing. You don't need to force it in any certain way. Just let it be. Relax your shoulders. Do a quick body scan. If you're into meditation, you're used to that, but just kind of scan throughout, starting in your head, down to your neck and your shoulders. If there's any place that you're holding tension, just kind of release that tension. Release any stress that you brought in with you. Release any preconceived ideas of who you are, what you need to be in this moment. Just breathe. Just breathe. And last but not least, just be open. As we explore just these next few moments, we're going to talk about what kind of affirmations you want to pull into your life. You might already have some preconceived ideas of, oh yeah, I know what I want. But I want you to be a little bit still and listen not just to your conscious mind, but to your deep inner knowing. The place where that breath comes from. The place inside you that truly knows what you need and who you're becoming. Listen for that in these next few minutes. Be open to that. Okay. So we are calm and we're going to do a little bit of visioning. So think about the future. That's where we're going to start. We've got kind of 3 buckets that I like to think about for the future. This week, this coming year, and then the next 5 years, okay? You go wherever you feel comfortable. There is no wrong way to do this. But you already know, like when I say challenges, you know, finishing up grad school, you know, sibling issues, you know, graduations or things that you need to plan or job changes that are coming, right? Maybe you jot down a challenge or 2 that you see in each of these buckets, or if there's just one area that you want to focus on, which challenges are coming up for you in this time. I'm going to give you just a minute to do that. I'll write mine down as well. And as you consider those challenges, I have kind of a word cloud. I don't know if cloud's the right term for it. But these are different values or affirmations that might come in handy to come at some of those challenges, to be prepared for some of those challenges. So which of these maybe stand out at you that you're like, oh, like I have a big meeting tomorrow and I might need some boldness in this meeting, or maybe I need some peace in this meeting. Maybe some, I don't know, logic will come in handy. So think about this week, maybe this month, this year, this 5 years. What might you need? When you think about challenges, you can also think about goals. A lot of times when I'm talking specifically to kids and teens, we look at life through the lens of what's next, what's next. And a lot of times there are people telling us what's next. But we like to also think about what do we want next? What are the goals that we have? And what are the things that are going to help us that we already have inside of us that we're going to call on to meet those goals or to overcome those challenges? I might change the colors of this slide. I feel like they're a little hard to see. Is that true? No, they're okay.
If there were like 3 colors total, it'd be easier to read maybe.
That would be easier. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to think about that. Yeah.
It's a lovely color scheme.
Thanks. I rarely know how much time to give. So just give me a thumbs up when you're like, I feel like I'm ready to move on. It's up to you, but I don't want to push anyone too fast. So all right. All right. I can always send the slides to you later too if you want to check out some more. So yeah, so you chose some things within you that you can use to overcome these this week, this year, and this 5 years. So now with those, what I want you to do is physically write out the affirmation that you need. So not just bravery, but I am brave. I am loyal. If you have any tricky ones, let me know. Sometimes girls come up with tricky ones. They're like, I'm not famous yet though. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about that. So if you have any that you need to adjust that don't exactly fit into the I am formula, that's okay. But coming up with those strong statements that get to be your lens, that get to be your intention. And just for fun, If you really love affirmations, there are some fun ways to come up with more. Yes. So Joelle, that is such a clear point. Yes. Sometimes, especially when people who are trying, like, for example, if I'm trying to be more confident and I don't think I'm confident at all, and I say I am confident, it actually can make me feel less confident because I see how much I'm not. The key is to find the one small area where you are the thing already and draw on that. And sometimes it really helps to have a friend or a partner or a therapist or a coach to be able to reflect back to you when you say, I'm not confident, for me to be able to say, Joelle, I mean, I don't know if confidence is your thing, but you showed up here today not having 100% of the information, and you shared, and you were helpful, and you were kind. And that is took a lot of confidence, you know? And so a lot of times, you are absolutely right. If you say things that are too far from what you truly believe to be reality, it actually can be worse. But finding the small pockets that you can draw on to then build on is the key. And sometimes that does take someone else reflecting those with us. So that's an excellent point. Other fun ways I like to come up with affirmations is by drawing on people that I admire. So this is a fun activity that I don't know that we really have time to go through the whole thing. Yeah, a little bit of time, but people that you admire that you find interesting. So like Brene Brown is always on my list. I just find her fascinating. I love her. So I would write her name down. That would be step one. And then step two is I would write down as many things as I can think of about her. Like, she has an awesome podcast. She has amazing books. She's a researcher. She asks great questions. She did a great TED talk. So anything that I can think of. She's a mom. She lives in Texas. Like, literally, I'll write all the things that I can think of about that person. And when I do this with 3 people, then I start to look for patterns. What are things that Brene Brown and Michelle Obama and Oprah all have in common, right? Like, those are the things. And then I'm like, that must be something that's really key to who I want to be, or who I want to become, or who I am becoming. And so I will look for those themes. So like, you know, all 3 of them have hit podcasts. So I see it in my future. I'm just saying, I am a podcaster. That is my affirmation. And another way is lyrics. When you have earworms, there's a reason. Like, where are those coming from? What are the themes that you're hearing in there? Is it, or even look for those. If you chose Brave as one of yours, then you get every single song that has the word brave in it, and you put that on a playlist and you blast that first thing in the morning. That is the assignment, because that is where the repetition comes in a fun way, right? It doesn't need to be a chore to get up and say these affirmations. It needs to be fun. It needs to be exciting. It needs to be something you want to do as you're becoming who you're meant to be, to make those changes in this world, right? So yeah, choose a few. Look up books about it. If you chose a word like tenacity, I don't know, go to the card catalog, which is not a thing anymore. Look how old I am, you guys. Go to Google and say books about tenacity and see if there's anything cool. You know what I mean? Read a book, get an audiobook, look for the music, look for the podcasts that have those as keywords. Put those as a hashtag on Instagram. What is the word you're looking for? Is the word you're looking for joy? Hashtag joy. Look up every single Instagram post that is hashtag joy. You know, find ways to bring it into your life. That is the idea. That is how it becomes who you are. So when you learn to choose those thoughts, that small little thing of choosing your thoughts, I've given you 75 million ways. Not quite, maybe that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. But when you learn to choose your thoughts, you will be fierce. You will flourish, and you will make the greatest good. It will be. My win today is being here with you guys. I love to share wins. Does anyone else have a win today that they would like to share as they're choosing their wins? What else happened today that you can choose a win for? Missy's got one, I can tell. I have that note. She has that knowing look. Well, it was very much fun for me to be here. I'm glad that I was able to hear with you. Oh, Beth got to sit outside today. That's a huge win. Yes. we never know in this time of this time of weather and on all the climate change, if we're going to be able to sit outside. That is a huge win and a huge thing to be grateful for. Absolutely.
When there's
Um,
13 hours of Zoom, if you can find 20 minutes to sit outside.
Yes, that's so true. And that's, I mean, that is the tragedy of Zoom, the beauty of it, that we can all be together, but also the tragedy of, oh, sitting here. If anyone is interested, I would love to offer you a complimentary coaching call just for you or for a teen or tween of your choosing. PM me on Facebook or Instagram. I'm happy to connect with you guys one-on-one. Yes, hunting for yellow cars. That's perfect. I love it. Yes, that is wonderful. But that is pretty much all. Oh, my final story. I almost forgot, y'all. This is an affirmation and a choice that I made for myself. I told you I am not an athlete, right? I'm not an athlete, but I chose this affirmation for myself a couple of years ago. I said, you know what? I am a runner. And, you know, I mean, this is Joelle again, where it comes back to that small, tiny piece of like, I mean, I used to play tag when I was younger. So, like, I literally can run, like, I'm physically able to run, right? So, I took that little seed of truth and I said, hey, I'm going to do this. And so, I found a mentor and a friend, my friend Mallory, and we decided to start running. And not only did we run, we ran an entire half marathon together. I used that affirmation and I became that thing. And you remember back to the quote, about that your thoughts become your words, words become your habits, habits become your actions, actions become your value. You know what I'm saying? And they become your legacy. So while I'm very proud that I was able to run that half marathon, I am a million more times proud that because of what my daughter sees me doing, she has decided as a non-athlete to run and to join her cross country team and to give it her best shot. Is she the fastest on the team? No. But does she go out there and she does it? Absolutely. And as proud as I am of her for that, it's really all the non-physical things that I claim as far as being a creative, being a problem solver, being a leader, being a gracious, kind, loving human that she is emulating because I've chosen to be those things and give that example that she wants to do that as well. And that's where the legacy and the really change comes through. And if there's anybody watching this, especially in the future, and you think that what thoughts you're choosing don't matter, know that they do, because there's always someone watching you, whether a lot of times it's someone older than you. I know we only think of people younger than us, but my clients are such an example to me. When I work with young girls and they are able to make positive changes in their life, I am changed. So never think that the thoughts that you're thinking don't matter to anyone. They do matter. They do become your legacy, regardless of how old you are or what positions you hold. You are making a difference. So that is me, my friends. So thank you for being here today. I so appreciate your time. I've so enjoyed hanging out with you guys. So I really appreciate it. Any questions?
You adopt me.
I would love to come join Central Illinois. We'll start a commune.
Perfect.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
The only question I have is, Erin, how are you so awesome? That was truly, truly amazing. And I know that you are a confidence coach for teen and tween girls, and yet I felt I am just a smidge older than that, just a smidge. Ignore the gray hairs. And yet I was like, oh, I needed this today, especially, which is even the cooler part. So like maybe we all need this any day in our life, but like
I
on one
wonder,
of those days.
yeah, I wonder what I would have thought of this when I was like 15 or so. Like I needed this so much, especially when I was younger.
I think for my clients, what's really interesting is, you know, ironically, I help them do a lot of creative problem solving. So when they come to me with friend issues or family issues or whatever, we talk about like, okay, here's what 3-4 possible paths you could take. What do you think might happen with each of them? We're only making this up because we don't actually know. And obviously, as a wiser older adult, I have a preferred path that I think that they should take, but I don't tell them that. We talk through it, they choose, and then they get to come back when they've maybe not chosen exactly what would have been the best scenario for them. And then we get to process it through, and then we get to try again. And it's the same thing with all of the tools that I'm giving them. Tell them, like, they get to use them as much as they feel comfortable at any time, but they're there for them forever. So when they're 25 and they're in the midst of, you know, a job change and a relationship issue and moving to a different city and everything's going crazy, and something that I taught them when they were 14 or 15 that they've never used because they think I'm crazy, all of a sudden they're like, oh, Erin told me this. I can use this now. This is the perfect time. So that's why I love working with young girls, is because there's the enormity of their life that they get to, you know, that they get to expound on it. So, oh, thank you, Xavier in Malaysia. I'm so glad you're awake in Malaysia. I'll have to tell my friend Roselle, who's from Malaysia, her family all still lives there, and she is always telling me I need to come visit. So I'll come visit you sometime, Xavier, when I visit her family.
That is such a great I am statement. So I was so excited to see that. I was like, Erin, look at the chat. So that is really awesome.
And passionate. And I love that he's dupe. All of those things. I love it.
So Erin, again, thank you for gracing us with your bit of CPSI magic about being the people that we were created to be, and allowing our smallness to still and especially make that greatest good. So thank you a million times over from CPSI. And anything else from my friends who've been with us this evening?
That was so wonderful.
Thank you, Beth. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. Yes, not having been too CPSI, I'm like, I hope it fits. I hope it's
colorful notes.
Yay!
As requested.
Totally. So with that, I think we will say the end and stop the recording for those who might want to hang out and chat for a little bit with Erin. I'm sure that's fine for a few minutes.